welcome to Vermillion. This is an oil painting simulator. It's been out on Steam for a while, on PCVR for a while, and now it is available on Quest. The developer was kind enough to send me a key a few days before launch, because he put out a call for content creators, and I am one. I'll be vanishingly small, but I'm about that big. Other people are that big. I'm about that big. So, but still, I am very appreciative to the developer for sending a key. You can pull up tutorials here on YouTube. This is painting a robin in Vermilion, full length this paint long. That's not what I'm doing. I just happened to be open on this last time I exited the game. I don't know why, but the very first time when you go through the tutorial, it shows you a private playlist and recommended videos and whatnot, and then when I went in back in later, even though I hadn't pressed anything on there, it was on this video. So I'm not quite sure what happened there. This should take me to the, nope, that just takes me home, I guess. Okay, so yeah, that's the back button. So there we go. Here's the video that I'm talking about. That's the robin. So that's not what I'm doing right now. I'm just going to show you the basics, because I'm recording this due to having to do factory resets about half an hour before release. So I don't have time to do a full-length 1 hour to paint along. So what you have here in front of you is an easel with a canvas on it. You can change the background you're in. Right now I'm in the manor. I can change it to loft, which in my opinion is very sterile, and I can also change it to pass-through. Now you're just going to see this as a black environment. So you can have a brush pressure indicator, show brush names. You can turn that off if you want. I prefer the manor environment. On the controllers, you can switch to left-handed layout, which I assume would swap this and that. Yeah, see, it just swaps everything left and right, so it's easier for you. You can play around with the haptics on the brush. What that means is that when I'm doing this and then just tapping it there, I can feel it in the controller. You can turn that all the way down, you can turn it all the way up, you can turn down the intensity of strokes up and down or off. So, and audio volume, brush volume, UI hover sound. So you can reach here, adjust this up and down, use this to change the angle and the height and everything. So that's that. Use this to move it around the whole thing. And you can grab here to adjust the size that you want. Right now this was already set as a 24 by 18, I believe, the canvas, and so this is just scaling it at this point. But if you're starting from a brand new painting, you could move this inward this way and then up, so that you had a portrait orientation as opposed to a landscape orientation. So you can pick up the palette, use it. Let me revert it to its default state. Grab whatever brush I want by just grabbing it, and then it's attached to my hand, whether I'm holding on to the grip or not. I squeeze grip again, and then I can alter the way that I am holding the brush. If I really wanted to, I could hold it this way so it's coming out of the bottom of my hand. You know? So, and to return it, I just drop it back off in there. It retains the last grip that I had with it. The yellow outline shows the default grip, which is like that. So I can mix directly on the palette, and it shows the pressure of the brush. See? And the brush itself also shows the pressure. By moving the on some of the brushes, like for example this one, if I move my right thumbstick forward and back, I can change the size of it, or I can swap it to a bristle dagger brush with the left and right motion of the right thumbstick. So some brushes allow resizing like that, not all of them do. So a good way to start is to use your I'll do it on the mixing tray here. Set my white. Now let's get some liquid white made. That's the thinner mixed with the paint, and that's liquid white. And then I can just lay that down on the canvas. I've noticed that if you go back and forth, it gives a different color in one direction than the other. So probably best to just go in one direction when you do this. So that way it gets an even color. And now this is the same method Bob Ross uses. Happy little clouds, happy little trees, right? So, and this allows for, oh here, I will show you. If I lay down a green here, and then I go over it with a blue, see how quickly it mixes, right? Whereas with on the liquid white, it doesn't mix quite as easily with the background. So that's the idea, is it blends it differently, and yeah. So there you go. I mean, this is all wet on wet, so you can change it to wet on dry if you really want to by going to layers, hopping to a new layer. That effectively treats it as though this original layer is all dry and cannot be altered anymore. Okay? So I can grab whatever color I want, and it won't mix with the layers underneath. So that's one way to do stuff, like say you want to lay in a shadow on a tree. Here, let me clean this all off real quick. Sketch out a quick tree. Alright, so let's say I wanted a quick tree. Get black, obviously, and have some branches coming off of it. That's another good branch right there. You know what? Let's just undo that, redo it. There we go. That's enough for you to be able to tell that it is a tree. So now let's get a little ground layer under it. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. Okay, here we go. I accidentally stuck it in the paint thinner when I didn't mean to. Oh, also a fun fact: beat the devil out of it. So. Let's make this. There you go, that should work. Okay, so let's just dab it in right there. Okay. Now, bring this back up to a little larger thing. How I would do a shadow for that is I switch to a different layer. As I was mentioning, I grab, say, the flat brush, reset my palette with a controller or with Y button that restores everything to its default state. Grab some black. You know what? Actually, let's do it on the mixing tray because that'll give me a little bit better comparison with how it'll actually look. So, black tree, green grass. Let's say standard daylight, which is kind of warm, so we want a cool shadow, but we don't want it completely actually black. So let's add just a little bit light blue in there. Give it a little bit of a gray, like a blue-gray texture, or just texture color. Thin it out just a little bit. This should then be able to give a nice little glaze on top. Now, obviously that's a little thicker than the original tree, but if I decide, no, that looks a little too big, I can change it. Well, make sure brush is still loaded. I can then do it that way. Add in some impressions of the branches. So, or if I decide that shadow is too dark, undo that. And just a little bit more of the paint thinner. Right. For the impression of the branches, should probably go with that. There we go, if we were going for a really detailed shadow. So, in a standard painting though, it would be just the basic line usually. So, and then, let's say I wanted to come back here. Okay, that's not letting me. There we go. That's my legs are pointed back. Go back down here. Let's say I wanted to add some more details in the grass area. So let me add in some more texture. Without affecting the shadow area. See? So there we have it, a nice little dead tree with a shadow on top of some very living grass. So that's one way of doing it. Bring it back down to the actual size. There we go, and now if I wanted to, I could come here and make sure that it got saved. These are all default example ones that come with the app. And then I can start a new painting, I can save this painting, I can delete this one. Right here is where I would go to export it. I can save it as a studio photo, which takes a picture of it with its background. Gallery just takes the canvas itself, I believe. Neutral, I'm not entirely sure what that does. You can share it on Facebook directly, you can save it to a device, and you can even export it as a 3D model, which will then allow you to put it up on Sketchfab, which is pretty cool. Right now I'm not going to do any of those because, well, this is not a finished painting yet. So, under palettes, you have a couple default paint sets. The one here that we have out already, that's the default one. This one is the primary color only one, so you can mix entirely your own colors, and have no default shades already. You just mix everything from scratch. So if I wanted black, I'd mix all three of these with no white, obviously. That would give kind of a muddy looking black, but it would kind of give me a black. If I go dark enough with all of the colors, it'll eventually get me down to a darker color that I could call black. It's not going to give me a true black though. So if I wanted a true black, I would actually need actual black. But this could give me various shades of gray. Shades of gray, shades of mud. So there you have it, and I can make my own palettes. And I think these are ones that you have to download and put on. I don't think you can actually just create within the app, but I'm not sure. I have not played around with that yet, so I'm not 100% sure on that. Let's see what else. Hang on, and on the layers, I think you can. I don't think you can turn visibility of the layers on and off. That would be cool to be able to, but then again, that would kind of make it a different kind of app. This is basically to allow you to insta dry the canvas and whatnot. So, and there's help, restart tutorial, the videos, and then here you can pull up YouTube and pull up a video. So, I'm not sure what quite all of the buttons here do. Put your brush, okay. Oh, I see. This allows you to project the video onto your painting, so you can follow along directly that way. That's actually kind of cool. An overlay, nice. And you can have it set to multiply or set to overlay, which shows that the color is a little bit better. Multiply kind of blends it with the colors already there. Overlay keeps the original colors and doesn't really mix with what's on the canvas. So that's cool. And you turn that off like that. Okay. That's pretty cool. That's a nice way of doing that. I like it. Now, you may be wondering, what is this? This is another brush cleaner. Not quite as satisfying as beating the devil out of it, but it works also. You go like that, and it takes all of the paint off of your brush. So, let's drop back down. Okay, yep, I'm on that layer. All right, good. So let's say I wanted to drag that out a little bit like that. Take my 2-inch brush, very lightly pull it out from the edges, just like I'm sure we've all seen Bob Ross do multiple times. That kind of pulls the paint outward. You can pull it upward if you want. Very, very light brush strokes. Yeah, so there's a lot you can do with this. One thing also that is occasionally useful to do, obviously not with this, but let's say you are doing, you want to do Bob Ross's mountain technique, right? So let's just put in the mountain right there real quick. Let's just do a default kind of a slate blue mountain, right? And right. This does respond to pressure. There we go. Now, notice how this is all lumpy and it's not very smooth. Well, if I continually go over, staying within the boundaries of this, the paint will smooth out. And now, once it's smoothed out enough, it will become easier to do the palette knife technique of the snow, because if it were still all lumpy, it wouldn't work quite well. So anyways, that's probably good for now. You can also beat the devil out of a palette knife, which I've never seen Bob Ross do, but it works in this game. So, and that is it for now, because otherwise I will not have a video ready in time for launch. It's probably already a little bit too late, so have fun. Thanks for watching. I'll do a better, longer video